I looked at him, my voice as gentle as it had ever been. The doctor says you're quite ill, he froze. Ill? With what? I didn't answer right away. Instead, I simply laid the report on the sheets before him. Keith's eyes flickered down to the report, his brow furrowing as he scanned the words. The room fell so quiet I could hear the steady beep of the heart monitor, a metronome counting down the last moments of his ignorance. At first, confusion clouded his features, like he couldn't parse the medical jargon, like it was just another tedious document from his company's legal team. Then, his gaze snapped to the final line, the one printed in bold, HIV-1 positive, confirmed infection. His hand slipped from mine, fingers trembling as they reached for the report. He lifted it, as if holding it closer would change the words, and read it again. And again. The color drained from his face, leaving him paler than the hospital sheets, and his lips parted in a silent gasp. When he finally looked up at me, his eyes were wide with terror, the primal reliance from moments ago replaced by raw, unfiltered panic. No, he whispered, his voice cracking. That's not possible. I used condoms. Every time. I sat there, my expression soft and sympathetic, practiced, honed over years of playing the devoted wife. The doctor said it's not always foolproof, I lied smoothly. Maybe a tear. Or, maybe it was too late before you met her. I let the words hang, letting him fill in the blanks of his own guilt. I didn't need to spell it out. He knew exactly how reckless he'd been, how many nights he'd stumbled home reeking of perfume and regret, how many times he'd brushed off my quiet concerns with a dismissive wave. He sank back against the pillows, his shoulders slumping like a puppet whose strings had been cut. The foredrip continued to hum, a steady reminder of the poison coursing through his veins now. Chloe, he muttered, the name a curse on his lips. She knew. She must have known. I didn't correct him. I didn't tell him that Chloe had been just as much a pawn as he was, that she'd been paid handsomely to seduce him, that her fragility had been a carefully crafted act designed to lower his guard. I didn't tell him that I'd known about her condition for months, that I'd waited for the perfect moment to set the trap. Instead, I reached out and brushed a strand of hair from his forehead, my touch gentle, my heart cold as ice. Shoo, I said, my voice a soothing murmur. It's going to be okay. We'll get you the best treatment, the best doctors. Money isn't a problem. He looked at me then, and there was a flicker of something like gratitude in his eyes. You're not leaving me? He asked, his voice small, like a child begging for mercy. I smiled. It was a soft, warm smile. The same smile I'd worn at our wedding. The same smile I'd worn when he'd brought home those 999 roses. The same smile I'd worn every time he'd lied to my face about where he'd been. We're married, Keith, I repeated. For better or for worse. Remember? He closed his eyes, and a tear slipped down his cheek. I watched it trail through the stubble on his jaw, and I felt nothing. No pity. No anger. Just a quiet, simmering satisfaction. For 2 lost pregnancies. For a wedding photo defaced with lipstick. For a birthday forgotten. For a home turned into a hotel for his mistresses. This was the first installment of his debt. Over the next 2 weeks, I became the picture of the devoted wife. I moved into a suite at the hospital, bringing with me his favorite books, his favorite coffee, his favorite silk pajamas. I sat by his bed for hours, reading to him, holding his hand, listening to him ramble about his fears, his regrets, his desperate hope that this was all a mistake.